The case against Judge Hannah Dugan is heating up. Now the Wisconsin judge has been suspended by that state's Supreme Court. She's been accused of helping a man evade immigration authorities.
The suspension comes days after the FBI took Dugan into custody. She faces charges of concealing an individual to prevent his discovery and arrest. She's also being accused of obstructing or impeding a proceeding.
The High Court says it was not responding to a request from anyone, writing, quote, "In order to uphold the public's confidence in the courts of the state during the pendency of the criminal proceedings against Judge Dugan, we conclude in our own motion that it is in the public interest that she be temporarily relieved of her official duties."
It's important to note that liberal justices do control the Badger State Supreme Court 4-3. The Heritage Foundation took to X to talk about Dugan, writing, "Judge Hannah Dugan violated numerous laws in order to help an illegal alien evade capture by ICE agents. Just like anyone else who violates federal immigration law or otherwise attempts to obstruct justice, she should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law."
Others were quick to defend Dugan. Political commentator from the left, Brian Krassenstein, says, "Maybe if our government stopped shipping innocent immigrants off to foreign torture prisons, shredding the 5th and 14th Amendments, Americans wouldn't have to risk everything to protect them." Robby.
I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on this one, Niall. Look, I think this judge is certainly entitled to due process, presumption of innocence, just like everyone else. Government has to make its case that she basically helped this illegal immigrant elude capture by ICE by basically spiriting him out a back door of the courtroom. It is very common for ICE agents to apprehend illegal immigrants at court proceedings, which for an argument that actually makes perfect sense, because to get into a court, you've gone through a metal detector and a screening. Interactions with police can always go south. It's safer for the police and thus safer for the person being apprehended if there's not going to be a scuffle, if nobody's going to pull a knife or a gun. So if you do that already past a secure location, it's less likely for there to be violence. That's good for everybody. That is what we want. He was at this court proceeding. He was accused of domestic violence. So they were there to apprehend him, and they contend that she helped him get out a side door. Now, she could have an explanation for why that happened. She should be able to present it, and it's on the government to prove that no, she really was trying to help him evade capture by ICE. But I don't, and I know we're living in this era of like, oh, the Trump's war on judges and everything. They've made a compelling case, and I don't know that this is just automatically can be chalked up to overreach by the Trump administration. But what are your thoughts?
I may shock you by agreeing with you.
Oh, nice.
No, I do actually think this is the case. We were discussing in a previous segment of today's show the importance of the rule of law, which I was foregrounding in the case of Kilmore Abrego Garcia. In this case, the judge, as you say, is accused of spiriting this man, and I think his lawyer, out the jury door. And basically, there had been immigration agents just outside, in the hallway outside the court. She sent the agents allegedly off to talk to the chief judge. She got these guys out a side door, a back door, jury door. And what ultimately ended up happening was according to the charging documents, a chase on foot for about a block outside the courthouse.
Right. Important to note, they did get him.
They did get him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was done. Now the argument is that not only was the judge wrong to do what she did, but she had in fact increased the danger to the public because of the very points that you raised. A courthouse is typically a safer area than the street outside. I get the argument that is made in two ways from the liberal side. One is judges sometimes don't love immigration authorities showing up because they wonder, does that then deter people from coming for criminal or other cases that are not related to their immigration status? You can make that argument, but it's not a terribly strong argument in my opinion. Then the other thing is the Krassenstein argument, I think, which is, oh, they're going around arresting judges now. Well, they've arrested this person because they are charging her with two criminal offences, in fact, and she's going to be arraigned in a couple of weeks' time. I obviously do not support the widespread arresting of judges,
Right.
but I also don't think judges are themselves immune to the laws.
But and she's not being arrested because of some ruling.
Right,
It was an,
exactly.
it was an action she took.
Now, I would stress that she
Yes.
insists she didn't break the law, and every time someone's criminal case comes up here, we say that people are entitled to their day in court and to plead not guilty, and she apparently is going to do that. Let's hear what her side of the story is. But on the fundamentals, was there some grievous wrong done here? I don't think so, really, no.
I was looking for a defense of the judge's actions, and actually my colleagues at Reason Magazine, Damon Root, who writes about judicial issues for us, he says that, I mean, he does think this, you know, they have a case, the criminal obstruction, it's definitely a case. He's just kind of looking for, you know, what argument could you muster? And that it would basically be hinging on that the courtroom is
sacrosanct.
The judge, not even that is the judge's jurisdiction.
Oh.
And the judge gets to determine what goes on in the courtroom. And also that you can't, federal officials cannot compel local officials, I mean, there have been cases about this, into being immigration officials or being officials in whatever variety of crimes. Just like if they wanted, if ATF showed up and wanted, you know, the judge's help apprehending some person who has an illegal gun, the judge is like, I don't have to do that. This is my courtroom. What do you can, I mean, when you're outside the courtroom, yeah, you can arrest them, but I don't have to walk the suspect past you in a way that's the argument. Based on some case law, I'm understanding that they might make.
So I wonder, to that point, is that why then the immigration agents did not actually enter the courtroom? They were outside in a hallway, as I understand, hoping to effectuate an arrest.
Which I understand that is normal procedure, I think.
I take my hat off to your Reason colleague trying to make the argument. Right. The argument that it is the judge's jurisdiction seems fairly thin to me, because yes, a judge, of course, has the capacity to impose order in a courtroom, but you couldn't just, as a judge, start, I don't know, building a bomb in the corner on the basis that you have jurisdiction over the room, right?
The case that my colleague cites is Prince versus the United States. I'll read from what he wrote. In that case, the Supreme Court overruled a provision of the 93 Brady Handgun Violence Prevention Act that required local police to help the feds enforce federal gun control laws. This was a decision by Antonin Scalia. The federal government may neither issue directives requiring the states to address particular problems nor command the states' officers or those of their political subdivisions to administer or enforce a federal regulatory program. The argument would be that the judge is under no obligation to do anything to assist the ICE agents from arresting the person. Now, I don't know that argument's going to work because that was gun control issues. This is immigration issues, and also they might say that they couldn't compel the judge to hold the guy while he's trying to get away, but that she did more than that. Exactly. She actually helped them elude capture.
Right. So the argument isn't that she was purely passive. The argument is
she could have stood there motionless as he ran past her, but to actually say, "Oh, there's the door. Here's the one on the left.
There you go. Out this way." So that's a problem.
All right. Yeah, I love it when we often reach common ground. That can be educational, I think, for viewers as well.
Sure. Up next, what is the brain drain? We'll tell you. That's coming up next.